Hi everyone, my name is Brad Kelly. This is for AEP 879. This is for video 4. This is actually blog number 3. So I'll go over some of the activities I was able to do over the past couple weeks here with you guys. Activity 1, I went and interviewed our school psychologist. One of the reasons why is because I just don't really run into her a whole lot. She's in the office, kind of in the back corner, and she's always busy on things. And like I said, I never really get a chance to talk to her all that much. So I emailed her and asked her if she would mind maybe sitting down and talking with me a little bit. I kind of told her the situation with the practicum, and that I'd kind of like to learn more about what her responsibilities are and how she interacts on a day-to-day basis with some of the administrators in our building. So once again, I counted this as a secondary level. Sat down and was able to talk with her for about 45 minutes. Some of the highs and lows, I guess, from this activity. I guess first of all, the highs is, I guess one of the things is just you need to know the law. And I know that throughout this process of obtaining our masters that we've taken school law and things like that, but we're going to become more educated, I guess, on IEPs and 504s, and especially with students with special needs. And that's kind of what she works with on a day-to-day basis, is making sure that all the rules are being followed, that student needs are being met. And I guess just kind of knowing that you have somebody like that working for you, and making sure that you as an administrator are dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's is kind of one of the high points as an administrator, that you don't necessarily need to know everything, but which is, once again, kind of the low as well, that she kind of talked about. Was one of the lows is that sometimes she actually has to kind of be the teacher, or the person that is teaching administrators what they can and cannot do and what can be done, those sorts of things. So anyway, that was my first activity that I was able to do here over the past couple of weeks. Activity 2 was a department type of meeting. A lady by the name of Marcia Fox, who is a Kansas curriculum specialist out of Topeka. She actually works for the Kansas Historical Society. Came to Hayes back on the 11th, and we took basically a half day, social studies department-wise anyway. We took about a half a day professional development time, and we went down to our board office and we met with Marcia, and basically she kind of went over what the new standards in history and government are going to be, and she also kind of went over what the new assessments are supposed to look like. Well, just like a lot of other core areas that are tested, there's going to be a big shift here over the next few years with not necessarily teaching kids knowledge. She referred to, we're getting away from the bubble test, where you ask a question and kids have to just know what the correct answer is, to more of a reading and writing based test, I guess. It's supposed to promote more critical thinking within our students, and according to her, and I tend to agree with this a little bit as well, is that we need our students to be pushed. Knowledge, I'm not saying that knowledge isn't important, but knowledge is more readily available. If kids want to find the answer to a question, and even us as adults, if we don't need something, or if we need to know the answer to something, we don't necessarily need to go read a book. We can get on the internet, type it into Google or whatever search engine you happen to use, and there's the answer. So, with knowledge being so readily available to everybody in this day and age, the curriculum and the standards are going to push more toward critical thinking elements, problem solving, being able to compare and contrast events, maybe if you're talking about social studies, events that's happened in the past, maybe with events that are happening right now. So once again, that was kind of the high point of the whole meeting, was knowing what the standards are going to be, having them explained to us, having the assessment strategies and what the assessment's going to look like explained to us. Really, as an administrator, one of the low points, I guess, is, how are teachers going to look at this? There's teachers that have been doing the same thing for a lot of years, and I think there's going to be a pretty drastic shift in regards to what's important. It's not going to be just about getting through as much as you possibly can, but how in depth can you get into topics and subjects. So students' assessments will also be graded by teachers. So once again, how much time is that going to take up, and those sorts of things. So those would be the lows for that activity. Activity 3, basically once a month we have what we call gold meetings. We're on block schedule, and our days are gold and maroon. So once a month on a gold day we have gold meetings. That's where the name comes from. Basically everybody that's on plan a particular period meet, and we basically go over items that are important to us here at the high school. This last gold meeting that we were at, basically it was talking about enrollment for the upcoming year. So we have a seminar period every day as well within our 4-block period, or within our 4-block day. So during that seminar time, which is about 45 minutes long, we're actually going to start pre-enrolling starting next week, our freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. Right? One of the high points about this meeting was it gave us a chance to once again go over our curriculum guide, ask questions about certain classes, if they're year-long classes, semester. It allowed the counselors time to once again give out that information to teachers who will be helping these students. As a teacher, it helps us work one-on-one with students. It helps us to promote our subject in our classes that we teach, and once again it helps kind of build a relationship with those students, because you are trying to give them guidance for the future, for their future academic work. Low points, no major low points. Some teachers, I guess, kind of refer to it as more work, and as an administrator you have to kind of portray why it's important. So that was my activity number 3. Activity 4, I took part in a family night out. It was through Lincoln Elementary and the Head Start program. This was on the 13th, and basically this was a time when families could get together, and Lincoln Elementary School, along with the Head Start, rented out the bowling alley for a little over an hour. And the students, young students, as you can see, got to participate in bowling, and the purpose was to get their families out. Once again, one of the high points as an administrator, as a principal, you get to meet families. I mean, you get to see the kids on a daily basis, but sometimes it's difficult to get to see the kids as parents. You get to talk to them a little bit. At this, they also had parent communication with the teacher. There was a parent-teacher representative there that talked about like upcoming events and things like that. So another high is, as an administrator or as a teacher, it makes you happy because a lot of these kids come from low-income families. So this might be one of the only times they get to do things like this. The low point was, as an administrator, you're not really sure how to plan it because you don't necessarily know who's going to show up. There wasn't enough money to pay for the parents to bowl as well. They just had to help their child, which, I mean, to me that's not a big deal, but if you don't get to do it very often, maybe some of the parents would have liked the bowl as well. So anyway, those were the low points for that activity. Last activity here, I went to a board meeting this last Monday. Once again, district activity. The high points for this board meeting was basically our science department here at the high school gave a great presentation to our board about next generation science standards. It seems like I've sat through a few of these board meetings now, and it seems like we tend to focus on the negative aspects, money situation, or what are we going to do 5 years down the road, or our buildings are falling apart, how are we going to fix this, or are we going to increase the mill levy, or whatever. So it's kind of nice to see the whole point why us as administrators or teachers are here. And the science teachers put on a really good presentation that showed some of the cool things that they're doing in their classrooms that are really hands-on and student-centered, and students are active, and I thought it's kind of refreshing to see some good news and to hear about some good things that were going on in classes, since after all that's what we as a district are all about. The low point is they still focused a lot on the budget financial report, the fact that certain things were failed to be budgeted for this year, so therefore our district is in a deficit. So there's a lot of talk about that. Not only what are we going to do this year, but what are we going to do next year? How's it going to affect students? Are we going to have to start charging fees for certain classes that students have to take, and things like that? Also, there's a lot of time spent that the board was unwilling to approve administrative contracts because there was no salaries attached, which could be an issue just not for administrative contracts, but also teacher contracts down the line. So the board said that they had kind of got burned by that in the past, so they weren't really willing to do that at this point in time. So we'll continue to see what happens with that as I try and attend a few more of those throughout the semester. That's it for now. I look forward to hearing some of your guys' reports on activities that you've done. Thanks.